Welcome back, guys. Valerie, Sean, we're here with Vitality Facebook Live. We are going to be talking. Where we're continuing with
about shoes.
Shoes, right?
And the movement to barefoot running.
Yes, yeah, the barefoot running movement. So it's a bit of a controversy because we touched lightly on it the last few times.
Yeah.
So we apologize for being a bit late. It's been a hectic day here at the office.
Yeah, it's my fault. Running late.
Valerie, she likes to chit chat. She likes to talk. It's one of her strengths. So.
It's one of my strengths, definitely.
That and walking really fast. So.
Yeah.
So we're talking barefoot shoe movement. Or minimalistic shoes. So I brought one of my shoes in today. It's kind of gross. It's kind of dirty. We'll keep it over here.
Keep it
far away from Val's nose. But this is a movement that is actually a good one, but it is still very controversial because a book came out a while back now called Born to Run, and it's an amazing book written by this guy Chris McDougall, and he looked into different styles of running, and it was a really cool story about different ultra marathoners and tribes, and these tribes in the Mexican mountains, and these people were running with very minimalist to nothing to kind of sandal-like shoes, really low foot or rear foot to forefoot drop. Anyways, all these things we'll talk about a little bit. And these guys were unbelievable runners, and they could run distances up to crazy amounts in a single day across crazy climates and terrain, all pretty much barefoot. So it's started a big kind of scientific research into whether or not we should be running more barefoot.
Right. And I mean, because if you look at back when we didn't have shoes, I mean, we used to run with nothing.
With nothing.
Right? With nothing. And it's an interesting topic just because you do use a lot more muscles in your feet when you are barefooted. You use your little intrinsic muscles, your arch muscles that we tend to not use at all, actually, when we're wearing shoes, because shoes basically turn our feet into I call des planches de bois. So it turns our feet into wood almost. There's
planks.
barely any mobility in our feet when we're wearing actually pretty sturdy shoes. So should you be running barefoot, and why?
I would say the answer is yes. Here's where the controversy starts, right? So are we right now how we've adapted over time, ready to run barefoot?
No.
No, right?
Big no.
Big no. So that's the big controversy, because a lot of people, they read this book, they went out and they got these, Vibram 5-finger, 5-toe shoes.
Yeah.
They switched to all these minimalistic shoes, and then they started getting injured.
Yeah.
Right? Because why? So the reason behind is we've actually adapted, or we've become, our environment was shoes, and I think it was back in the 70s, the research shows, back in the 70s, so shoe companies like Nike and this and that started gaining more popularity, and they actually started trying to help us run, right? So the technology and the idea behind it was actually kind of sound, right? They said, well, we're going to be running on concrete and all these things, so we're going to put cushion to help you propel you and to help your mechanics, but it seemed to have backfired over time.
Yes.
Because we've adapted to that. So
now baby shoes, right? Some of them are pretty sturdy.
It's crazy. They put these kids in, and because they say, oh no, we have to support their ankles. We have to do this.
Terrible.
It's the worst possible thing that you can do. So from a young age, when you smash people's feet into these really restraining shoes, we lose the ability, like Val said, all of those intrinsic muscles. So like
you're not using them.
Our feet should be kind of like our hands, right?
Yeah.
Not
or
quite,
even if
but...
I was talking to Sean early. Even monkeys, right? Their toes, their big toe, they kind of like a thumb, right?
Kev
so they can,
from Italy.
Yeah, he's tuning in.
Yeah.
So their feet are kind of like a thumb, so they can bring their big toe out, right? The funny thing is, if you were to look at your foot and if you try to spread your big toe outwards, right? Very tough to do. Now, but we have that muscle. It's there. We have it. It's in our foot. We're just not able to use it.
Yeah.
So because we don't use these muscles, we rely on physical structure to keep our feet okay. And now if you go out barefoot running, I mean, your body hasn't adapted to that. It can't.
Toast. Yeah, you don't have the activation of all those little intrinsic muscles. You don't have the stability, the support of the arches. You don't have the elasticity of your Achilles and your calf.
Yeah.
So there's so many changes that take place over a number of years, right? So imagine you've been running in these thick-soled shoes, these big cushions, and then you say, wait a second, barefoot's better. I'm going to start running in these Vibram five-toed shoes. And guess what? You end up injured.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So, and just backstepping a bit, Val was talking about like the ability to move our feet. I watched my little boys. I have an 11-month-old and a 2.5, and it's unbelievable what they can do with their feet. It's crazy. Like Aiden's eating the other day, and Kelly's like, look at this guy's feet, and he has them hooked around, like pretty much holding on to like the counter underneath the table, and it's phenomenal. And it's kind of sad that we then take those feet and we jam them into shoes, and all these bad adaptations take place. So, what are some of the effects of shoes and fashion? Right, the
pointy toe,
pointy toes, right?
Yeah. So when you look at a pair of shoe, basically you never want to be squishing your toes, right? You want your toes to be nice.
Once in a while, once in a blue moon, it's okay. If you have to go out,
all in moderation.
You have to go out to
a fancy occasion. Shoes are very important in the outfit, so I totally get that. But a day to day, you really want to find shoes that are
mimic as barefoot as possible, right? So, a larger toe base to
from
allow,
a kid up now. Like now, you can't do that.
No. So if you're starting out with your kids, it's super important. There's some really good companies out there: Vivo Barefoot Kids, Zero Shoes, Unshoe. There's a book I'll mention a little later. I'll mention it now. It's called Whole Body Barefoot, and it's written by a woman by the name of. She wrote "Move Your DNA." I'm drawing a blank on her name right now.
I don't know what your name is.
She's a biomechanist. Anyway, Katie Bowman's her name. It's an amazing book. She has really, really integrated full body movement and barefoot into her life and her kids' life. So she has it documented all the different ways of getting these barefoot shoes. So starting from a young age, do it. If you're starting from an older age, right?
Yeah, and if that's the direction you want to go.
Yeah, if
right?
that's the direction you want to go.
It depends on you.
Because it would probably, if you're willing to put in the time and you're willing to invest some time into it, it would benefit the whole body.
For sure.
Because, we have all sorts of foot deformities that happen as a result of those shoes. We have all sorts of gait deformities that happen. Bunions, bunionettes, hammer toes.
Yeah. Plantar fasciitis, right?
Plantar fasciitis. All these things that probably could be avoided had we just stuck to more of a barefoot shoe from a young age.
Yeah.
So those books are worth reading. It's called Whole Body Barefoot, or Barefoot Strong is another one, and Move Your DNA. They're amazing books. They outline kind of transitional approaches or programs to transition back towards barefoot. But the first step would be just walking a little more barefoot. Before you run, right, you got to walk.
Yeah.
So, and that's, kids, before they run, they got to crawl, then they walk, then they run. So even for us, transitioning back towards barefoot, we would like to walk.
Walking in your house, right?
Walking in your house, walking in the grass, walking in the beach, in the sand. We talked about this last time.
Though.
It is tough, right?
Yeah.
So, like Val was saying, when you're introducing any new techniques into your running or any new footwear, you want to do, what was it, a 10% rule?
10% rule ideally, but you can think about it. Let's say, I don't know, usually you run 30 minutes, right? You can run around the block for the first couple of minutes and then switch back to your normal shoes.
Exactly.
Right? And then you slowly progress time by time, but your body has to adapt. There's ways of transitioning between shoes, for example, running. Let's say, because we often work on a scale of minimalistic being 1 or 0, I forget, and up to 10 being a super sturdy shoe. So if you're going from, I don't know, like a 9 to 1, right? You can either do the transition directly, but if you do that transition, it needs to be the way I mentioned it. So running around the block and really slowly doing that transition, because it's such a big change.
For sure.
And then some people go with, buying a bunch of different pairs of shoes. Yeah, you
You do that too, so then working your way down the scale.
Exactly,
Okay, cool.
but
That's
there's
cool too.
different ways of doing it. If you do that, then you have to go out and buy yourself many different pairs of shoes. So some people prefer not doing that, but it's up to the individual.
Yeah, and honestly, it is a very good movement because it'll help. Oh, there we go. Kelly says, author, Move Your DNA, Katie Bowman. Thank you, Kelly. Whole Body Barefoot. She has a bunch of really good books. She's an awesome author and speaker, and she's like taking this whole movement practice to an amazing level. Like she got rid of couches in her house so the kids sit on the floor cross-legged. Lots of movement. You don't necessarily have to go there, but she has some amazing principles in the book. So some of the shoes that are out there that are available to us, you have those Vibram 5 toes.
Yeah,
I keep saying 5 fingers, 5 toes. You have, this is a company, Innovate. So look at their little logo. It's actually a foot, right?
Oh, I hadn't
It's actually
seen
really,
that.
really cool. This is a company, I think they're a British company called Innovate.
And another thing you want to look at too, right? Like we're talking about minimalistic shoes and seeing what makes a shoe minimalistic, right? So first, I mean, if you look at the heel right here and the end, right? There's Sean had mentioned the drop.
Yes, the heel drop.
Right, the heel drop.
Forefoot.
So it's very slight. A lot of shoes have a big heel and a small end. So you want to look at that.
Wide forefoot.
Yeah, the wide forefoot, right?
Flexibility.
So seeing how big it doesn't bring your toes towards the inside. The flexibility, seeing the side to side flex. Oh, jeez,
I know,
this is
sorry
gross.
guys.
Yeah, the up and down.
I was in the sand with my kids yesterday playing.
So those are all things you want to look at. You know,
Sorry, Val.
it's fine. If you want to go towards a more minimalistic type shoe, but it's your decision, right?
It's your decision. And it's funny because the thought process, like you say, sometimes is backwards. Like, oh no, we need to give you more support, more stability. And it's kind of backwards, right? So
It's a little backwards,
It's
yeah.
a little backwards because our bodies are designed amazingly, and it's the environment. It's basically stimulus, right? So if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you jam your feet into these stiff, sturdy shoes, they will become des planches à bois, right?
Des planches à bois.
Yeah, and then and that's not good because it's crazy. Your eye, your ear, your feet, right? They're part of your balance, your proprioceptive system. We get so much feedback from the ground up. And you need to stimulate it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like every aspect of your body. You don't use it, you lose it. If it's your brain, if it's your body, anything, you got to use it. So it's super important. So I really think the barefoot movement is a good one. I think if you have any kids, I think it's essential that you start them on that path because
or just don't cram their feet into some really sturdy shoes.
I cringe when I go to I take my kids to sport ball and I see these kids running around and they can barely move, and then you put them in these
stiff.
It's crazy. I cringe, and so your kids should be as barefoot as often as possible, and if they do wear shoes, if you are in an environment where you're at risk for damaging their feet or their toes or their hard surfaces, then there are some barefoot options that at least will protect the feet but still allow their feet to feel and function.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't mention this in transitioning, so Val talked about a bit about the 10% rule or the scale moving from a stiff shoe to a minimalist shoe. You can also do a lot of prehab, right? So just simply, like we say, walking barefoot, standing.
But again, okay, walking barefoot, if you're used to walking in the house with shoes all the time, you can't go to just walking without shoes. Because then you're going to create, again, Achilles tendonitis, epipondyle fasciitis. It's just, you can't load your body with things hugely.
Yeah, too soon, too fast.
No too soon, too fast.
No too soon, too fast. So great exercises, foot exercises. So using a lacrosse ball on the bottom of your foot, lengthening your Achilles tendon, working on your ankle mobility, working on your tissue health.
Yeah, right? The stabilizer muscles in your ankle as well.
Awesome. All that stuff. If you're thinking about it, we can help you with that. Book an appointment with Val. She's awesome. So or me. But yeah.
Or anyone here.
Or anyone. We can all help you with that. But yeah, get out and move well, move efficiently, move intelligently with respect to where you're at and how you've adapted over time.
Yes.
Cool.
Correct.
If you guys have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to write us, to ask us. You can post them here. Share this video if you find it useful, and you might have some people who will also find it useful.
Correct.
And we're gonna go out and enjoy our weekend. It's supposed to be a nice
Not
weekend.
yet.
No,
I'm
kid.
still working.
Just gotta work. I'm off for the afternoon. I'm gonna go walk around barefoot.
Enjoy.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah. Enjoy, guys. Bye.